Yo, what's going on, people? Today we're going to be talking about the Crew 2 closed beta, my review and first impressions. I'll leave timestamps in the comment section down below in case you want to know about a specific part. You can just jump to that part in the video. So I'm going to start off with my expectations, and honestly, I didn't expect anything from this game at all. While Ubisoft are good at, making good open world games, Assassin's Creed, etc., when it comes to their driving physics, they ain't the best. So I wasn't expecting much from this. Because you can look at the Crew 1, then there's Watch Dogs, there's Ghost Recon Wildlands. The driving physics in this game are just, they really ain't that good. So yeah, honestly, didn't care for this game, didn't expect much from it. I would have completely forgotten about the beta, but kinda had a friend literally harassing me every damn day. Elijah, the Crew 2 can do this, you can do that, you can do this with all these new features, and I'm like, don't get your hopes up. Because this game, knowing Ubisoft's history with driving physics, may not be that good. And let me just say, fam, I could not have been more wrong. The first 10 minutes of this beta completely blew me away. So yeah, let's jump into the handling physics. Because that's the first thing everyone always wants to know when it comes to driving games. How do the cars handle? How does it feel? So, like Need for Speed, the 2017 one, Payback, there are different classes of cars. So, you have street racing, you have drag, you have drifting, etc. But unlike Need for Speed 2017, they all handle how they're supposed to depending on that class. The street cars, they handle well. Obviously depending on the car, some will slide a bit more than others, some are heavier, they actually have weight to them. And when it comes to drifting is not my favorite thing to do, but in this beta it was. Drifting was so much fun. It wasn't necessarily easy, but after drifting for a few minutes you get the hang of it. The cars can actually hold a slide. In a lot of arcade racing games, the supposedly drift cars, they can only drift for these short distances. They can never really do these full-on long-ass drifts, but in this game they can. If you upgrade your car and you get it fast enough, it can hold these long slides. So yeah, drifting was a lot of fun. Yeah, this is an arcade game, but overall the driving physics it's pretty good. So let's talk about the vehicles. The vehicle list, it wasn't a huge amount of cars, but it was a good amount that I think everyone should find something that they'll like. Unfortunately, there are no Evos or Subarus or anything, but they're Mazdas and Nissan, so there's a couple GM cars in there. There were also a lot of bikes. There were pickup trucks, SUVs, monster trucks, planes, and boats, and even a few odd cars down in there, like there were Formula 1 cars, there were helicopters, and a hovercraft, I think I remember seeing. So yeah, while there weren't a huge amount of popular cars, there were a very good variation of different types of vehicles because there are different events. So how it would work, there would be street racing, there would be pro racing, and there would be off-road. Those were the three that were unlocked for the beta. So for each of these disciplines, the vehicles would be categorized. So all of the pickup trucks won't just be for, let's say, the off-road races. There would be street bikes, there would be street trucks, street cars, and that's how it would work. So if you want off-road, you have off-road bikes, off-road trucks, rally cars, etc. Yes, they are rally cars. And each of these cars have a default performance level, and of course you beat races and get unlocks so you can make them faster, but I will get into that later because that also ties in with the progression system. So for now we're going to jump into the customization. Now I think customization is either going to be a hit or miss for some people. Me personally, I didn't like it at first, but as I played more, I became more okay with it. So in terms of customization, how we're customizing the cars, let's say Need for Speed, we're custom doing everything ourselves. You can change the individual bumpers, the headlights, canyards, hoods, etc. How they did customization for this game, they kind of bundle certain things together, which is a part I don't think a lot of people will like. So let's say if you change the front bumper, it wouldn't just change the bumper, it would, let's say, add on a splitter or some canyards, or change the headlights, maybe add on an intercooler. So yeah, they kind of grouped a lot of things together. And the same thing with the back bumper. The back bumper also changes the rear brake lights, may add canyards, and changes the type of exhaust too. So while it does group a lot of things together, if you're thinking I don't like this, on the flip side, why I was okay with it is because the quantity. There are a lot of them. They kind of group them together, but they give you a lot. So as you're scrolling through the list, then you'll find a combination of parts put together that you will like. So for instance, the car I was customizing yesterday, I can't remember what it was, but it had like 30 options for the front bumpers. and my friend's Escalade had like 80 front bumpers. So you're just scrolling through, they're changing everything. Again, there's enough options that I think everyone will find a combination that they like and that they can work with. So that's why I said I became okay with it. So let's talk about the world. The open world map is the entire USA, and trust me, it is pretty big. We went on several road trips, my friends and I. Actually put up one. It was like 88 miles long. We went from Maine to the end of Seattle. It took us like a real hour in real life, not in game. It was a full hour to travel that distance. And the map is not as bland compared to the first crew. Also, it's worth noting the graphics did receive a pretty good upgrade, so the graphics look pretty good. But yeah, the world it feels pretty good, as in when you're traveling from state to state, it changes. So you might be going from a city, and as you get out the city and you start going on the highways, it'll stop seeing so much buildings, you start seeing more greenery, and then you start going into forest area. So yeah, as you're just driving from place to place, you just watch how the scenery slowly starts to change. And also the traffic in the city is like packed, but as you slowly start to exit, you'll start seeing less and less cars and these long empty roads where you can just floor it for miles on end. On certain games and certain maps, there's always that one spot you go to see how fast your car can go, but nah, in this game it's any and everywhere. You just floor it. There's so many places for you to just drive fast with nothing to stop you. But it wasn't just all straight roads. We start coming up on these roads that were just curvy as hell, and all my friends, we just had the same idea as that time. It was just like pause, everyone switch to drift car, and we're drifting down this the side of this mountain. And switching cars and spawning with your friends is so easy. Despite the map being so big, you just look for your friend, you hit X, you hit teleport, and you actually spawn in so quickly. Sometimes it was just instantaneously, but other times it would just take a second to load in. But if you don't want to spawn them, you can actually just zoom in and watch your friends drive around. Now, one of my biggest problems with Ubisoft and their open world games is that, sure, the map may be big, but it's just big and lifeless. That's not really the case with this game to me. There are pedestrians walking around. While you can't hit them, it kind of had that midnight club feel when you drive close to them and you would automatically just push them out the way. But there'd always be people walking around. There's also wildlife, so depending on which part of the map you're driving, you'll be seeing different types of animals. And then there's your traffic. I don't know if you play Grand Theft Auto 5, but the pedestrians and the traffic, they're always out to get you. In this game, that's the same problem. The normal cars are fine, but whoever is driving those big trucks or the buses, they are out to get you. You'll be speeding going down the highway, and if a bus is in front of you, he'll just switch into your lane for no reason and try to make you crash. No one can convince me otherwise. The AI is out to get you. And also, when it comes to the races and events, this also has to do with the world, but there's also a good level of destruction, which is something I didn't think that I would miss from a racing game. But kind of like the old Need for Speed, how you would just be driving and you could hit light poles and fences, fire hydrants, etc. I find in racing games now that you have to try your best not to hit anything because it's kind of so static. So you may hit a fence and it'll just stop your car in one. But in this game, no, there's a good amount of destruction. You could drive through fences, you can hit poles, these newspaper stands, bus stops, etc. So yeah, just think of like the old Need for Speeds where there's a lot of destruction and you're driving. It's just for looks. It doesn't actually slow down your car, but it actually adds to the experience and fun. And the last positive I have here is matchmaking and joining on friends. It was pretty easy. You could either join from the party or send invites to crews, but again, this was also instantaneous. As soon as you hit confirm, you would just join. No loading, no waiting, anything. Everyone just spawned on each other at the same time. It also does the same thing for races, which I like. So how you would start a race, you can either you would hit X, you travel to the race. There were kind of these gates that opened. When you drive into that little area, it would automatically shoot an invite out to everyone in your crew, and they could hit accept and they would teleport everyone into the waiting area, and then you would drive out onto like the starting grid, which is pretty cool. But if everyone's there at the same time, as long as all of you drive into the waiting area at the same time, you would all be put into the race together. That was pretty cool. And also in matchmaking, one of my friends was his internet was lagging a little bit, and it paused the entire race for everyone. You know, rather than let him drive around lagging, messing up the race for the rest of us, it paused it for everyone. There was like a 10-second countdown, letting him reconnect, and then it resumed the race for everyone. And then the second time, when it didn't work, it just kicked him out, and then there was a countdown so everyone would know the race was starting back. I also thought that was pretty good. So yeah, that's it for the positives. Now, when it comes to, let's say there's the one thing I'm unsure of, this is the upgrading cars. So rather than buy the physical parts, you know, the turbo, tires, etc., this does like Need for Speed. It has like a similar card system, but it does it better than Need for Speed. So while Need for Speed was randomly generated, in this game, how it works, when you finish a race, they would drop loot. So not only would you get multiple cards to upgrade your car with, but they would always be better. The only time that I started getting cards that were not higher was when I was starting to max out my car during the end. Again, this is with the performance level. You have to get all level 280 cards to completely max out the car. So let's say once I started hitting level 270, they started giving me parts that were just a bit lower. But here's where my concern comes in for the progression system. Because if we were just grinding out these beginner races and we were able to keep leveling up our cars so we hit level 280 with these cards, then I think you will be able to progress too fast and level up your cars. Because money is not a problem. You make money in this game pretty easy. So you should be able to buy those high tier cars whenever and just level them up instantly, because all you have to do is take a card that is already maxed out into a race and you will unlock level 280 cards because that card is maxed out. You unlock cards higher than whatever your current card level is. So again, take a maxed out car into a race, you will start unlocking spare 280 parts. All you have to do is buy a new car, put those spare cards into that new car, and that's it. Just instantaneously buy a new car already maxed out. So I'm giving Ubisoft the benefit of the doubt and hoping that they just did this like this because this is a beta and they want us to be able to max out our cars. But I'm hoping in the full game that they have certain card levels behind story progression, because how this game works is rather than leveling up, you get something called fame level. So as your fame level increases, you start unlocking different brackets of cards. I also hope it works the same way for cars, because like I said, you can make money pretty easy. So yeah, that's my concerns for the speed cards and the progression system. And when it comes to my full dislikes, these are really minor stuff, to be honest. The car collision, how it works right now, if you hit head on, it's going to dead stop your car. Fair enough, that's understandable. But sometimes when you graze the side of a wall, it would also just pull you to a complete dead stop rather than just slow you down a little bit. I don't like that. The car prices and specs were also a bit off. For instance, they had the Nissan GTR, the R35. They had that horsepower at like 190 or something, and yet they had the Ford Focus RS 2016 one. That horsepower was like almost 400. So yeah, the specs were a bit off, and also the car prices, because they had those high level hypercars, you know, the Zonda, the Porsche 918 Spider, the LaFerrari. Those car prices they didn't make sense. They had the Zonda F, which is the circuit one, which is worth like over $1 million. They had that 400,000, and yet they had the Zonda R, which is the road legal one. They had that for like 600,000 and 800,000, and they had a lot of cars that in real life are much cheaper, more expensive than the high tier hypercars. So yeah, I'm just hoping that they fix the car specs and adjust those prices accordingly, because, you know, yeah, that ties back in with the progression. If I'm able to just save up and buy a Zonda before I can buy a BMW, then you have a problem there. But yeah, other than that, I really enjoyed this beta. It was so much fun. I can't remember last time I had this much fun on a game. Because as of right now, the games that I play, they keep me entertained for like 4 or 5 hours at most, then I'm on to something else. I was playing this with my friends from sun up till sundown back, like, I don't know, brought me back to childhood days playing games all day, because they released this on the weekend. I didn't have anything to do, so yeah, this kept us entertained the entire weekend. So I didn't really care for this game before, but I will be looking to buy this game. So yeah, that's my review of the closed beta. If you didn't get in, don't panic, because they actually announced today that there will be the open beta later this month, so you can look out for that. But yeah, if you got into the closed beta, what are your thoughts? You can leave them down in the comment section down below. If you found this video helpful, you could leave a like and share it around, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.